The bailiff called my case number. I stood up. The courtroom doors opened and I walked through. My parents were sitting at the table with their lawyer. They looked confident, almost smug. Then they turned and saw me. My mother's face went white. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. My father grabbed the edge of the table. "Oh my God," my mother whispered. Then she fainted. Just collapsed right there in the courtroom. My father tried to catch her, but his knees gave out too. He dropped into his chair, head between his knees, gasping. The bailiff rushed over. The judge called for order. I just stood there, calm, steady. I had waited 6 months for this moment. 6 months of pain, of betrayal, of fighting to survive while they fought to rob me. Why would seeing their own daughter make them faint? Let me rewind. Because what they did while I was in that coma? That's why I'm here. And before we get into it, drop a comment. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? If you believe families should protect each other, hit that like button right now. I was 19. Second year of college. Double major, finance and pre-law. I was on a full academic scholarship. Plus I worked 2 part-time jobs. One on campus at the library, one off campus at a coffee shop. I didn't party. I didn't have time. I had goals. My grandparents had passed away 2 years earlier. They left me a trust fund, $500,000. It was for education and emergencies. They made that very clear in the documents. I had scanned everything. Filed it, backed it up. My finance professor taught me that. Always keep records. On a Tuesday night in March, I was driving home from my shift at the coffee shop. I remember headlights. Then nothing. A drunk driver ran a red light. Hit me head on. My car spun twice. I woke up 3 weeks later in a hospital bed. There was a kind nurse standing over me. Her name was Maria. "Welcome back," she said softly. I tried to speak. My throat was raw. I managed one word, "Mom?" Maria's face changed. Just for a second. "Honey, let me get the doctor." She didn't answer my question. I asked again the next day. And the day after that, Maria finally told me the truth. My parents had come once. The second day of my coma, they stayed 18 minutes. Then they left. And they never came back. No calls to the nurse's station. No flowers. No voicemails on my phone, which Maria had been charging for me. Nothing. I was alone in that hospital for 6 months. Well, not completely alone. Maria checked on me every shift. My aunt, my dad's sister, visited 11 times. 2 friends from college came 4 times. But my parents? Once, 18 minutes. I called them the day I could hold a phone again. That call changed everything. My mom answered on the 4th ring. "Hello?" Her voice was cold, distracted. "Mom, it's me." Silence. "I'm awake, Mom. I've been awake for a week." "Oh, that's good." "That's good." That's all she said. I waited for more. There was nothing. "Why haven't you come to see me?" I asked. "It's been months." She sighed. Like I was bothering her. "We came once, sweetie. You didn't wake up. We have our own lives. We can't just put everything on hold." I felt my chest tighten. I almost died. "But you didn't," she said flatly. "You're fine now." I wasn't fine. I could barely walk. I was in physical therapy twice a day. "The hospital bills are piling up," I said. "Insurance covered some, but not all. I don't know what to do." Long pause. "You're an adult now," she said. "You're 20 years old. We're not responsible for you anymore. This is just too much for us." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "What about the trust?" I asked. "Grandma and Grandpa left it for emergencies. This is an emergency." Another pause. "Longer this time? We'll handle it." "What does that mean?" "It means we'll handle it. I have to go." And she hung up. I stared at the phone. Something in her tone felt wrong. The way she said, "We'll handle it." Like she had already decided something. I didn't know what, not yet. But 2 days later, I got a letter. And my stomach dropped. The envelope was from a law office I'd never heard of. Inside was a legal petition. 20 pages. Petition for emergency guardianship and conservatorship. My parents were filing to take control of me. They claimed I was mentally incapacitated, that I couldn't manage my own affairs, that I needed a guardian to make medical and financial decisions on my behalf, and they were volunteering. I read it 3 times. They wanted control of the trust. My $500,000? I was still in the hospital, still rehabbing. I had maybe $2,000 in my checking account. I couldn't afford a lawyer. The bills from the accident were crushing me. Physical therapy, medications. The hospital was already sending collection notices. I felt trapped. I could barely walk without a walker. I had brain fog. I was exhausted all the time. How was I supposed to fight this? I thought about giving up. Maybe they were right. Maybe I couldn't do this alone. Then Maria came in for her shift. She saw me crying. What happened? I showed her the petition. She read it. Her jaw tightened. Do you have any proof they abandoned you? I looked up at her. What do you mean? The hospital keeps records, she said. Visitor logs. Every person who comes into ICU is tracked. You want me to request yours? I nodded. And that's when I remembered. I save everything. Maria submitted the request to hospital administration. 3 days later, the logs came back. Official records, time-stamped, signed by the ICU supervisor. I spread the pages out on my hospital bed. There it was, in black and white. My parents visited once. Day 2 of my coma. Arrival time, 10:14 a.m. Departure time, 10:32 a.m. 18 minutes. For 6 months, I was in that ICU. 6 months of machines breathing for me, of surgeries, of nurses turning me every 2 hours so I wouldn't get bed sores. And my parents came once. I kept reading. My aunt, 11 visits. She came every other week. My friend Jenna, 4 visits. My friend Marcus, 4 visits. Even my finance professor came once. But my parents? 1 visit, 18 minutes. I had the logs printed on hospital letterhead. I had them stamped. I had the ICU supervisor sign an affidavit confirming their accuracy. Receipt number 1, proof of abandonment. But I had a feeling they'd already done something worse. And if I was right, I needed proof of that too. So I called my aunt. Sweetheart, I'm so glad you're awake, she said. I've been so worried. Aunt Jen, I said, have my parents said anything to you? About the trust? She hesitated. Why do you ask? Because I think they're trying to take it. Another pause. Then she said the words that made my blood run cold. I think you're right. My aunt told me she'd been suspicious for weeks. She knew about the trust. She'd been there when my grandparents set it up. I called your mom a few times, my aunt said. Asked how you were doing. She barely answered. She kept changing the subject. To what? I asked. Money. Bills. She said they were drowning. And then she asked if I knew how to access your trust. I closed my eyes. What did you say? I told her I had no idea, and that it wasn't hers to touch. My aunt paused. Honey, they filed an amended petition 2 days ago. I saw it online. They're claiming you're unstable, that you're refusing family support. They're trying to make you look incompetent. My hands started shaking. They're lying. I know, she said. And they're telling everyone. They called your uncle. Your cousins. They're spinning this whole story about how you're angry and confused, that the coma changed you. I felt sick. Then my phone buzzed. A notification. My mom had posted on Facebook. Praying for my troubled daughter. Please keep her in your thoughts as she struggles to find herself after her accident. Troubled, struggles to find herself. I wasn't troubled. I was abandoned. And I had 10 days until the hearing. No lawyer, no money, just visitor logs and a growing fury. I thought I was out of options. Then my aunt said something I'll never forget. There's more. And you need to know. My aunt had done some digging. She knew the trust had a safeguard. Any withdrawal required 2 signatures, mine and an independent trustee. The trustee was a family lawyer named Mr. Carroll. He'd known my grandparents for 30 years. My aunt called him. I asked him if your parents had contacted him, she said. He told me yes. My heart sank. They called him while you were still in the coma. They said they needed to access your trust for medical expenses. They asked him to authorize a transfer of $150,000. What did he say? He refused. He told them the trust was explicit. Only you could authorize it, and you were unconscious. I exhaled. But that's not all, my aunt continued. They didn't stop. They tried to go directly to the bank. What? They submitted a request, forged your authorization, claimed you'd given verbal approval before the accident. My vision blurred. The bank flagged it, my aunt said. Rejected it. Fraud alert. It's all documented. I got copies. She emailed them to me. I opened the file. There it was. Unauthorized access attempt. Account flagged. Request denied. While I was unconscious. While I was fighting for my life. They tried to rob me. Receipt number 2. And now I knew exactly why they wanted guardianship. They needed legal control. Because the fraud didn't work. Maria knew I needed a lawyer. And she knew I couldn't afford one. She made a call to a legal aid clinic downtown. 2 days later, I met Sophie. She was young, maybe 30, sharp eyes, no nonsense. Tell me everything, she said. I did, the accident, the abandonment, the guardianship petition, the fraud attempt. She took notes the whole time. When I finished, she looked up. I'm taking your case. Pro bono. Why? I asked. Because this is exactly the kind of abuse guardianship laws were supposed to prevent, she said. And because I hate bullies, Sophie requested public records. 3 days later, she came back with a file. Your parents filed for bankruptcy, she said. 6 months before your accident. She slid the documents across the table. Chapter 13 Bankruptcy. Debt schedule attached. Credit cards maxed. Second mortgage underwater. Gambling debts. Total unsecured debt. $285,000. They were drowning, Sophie said. Then you had your accident. And they saw an opportunity. I stared at the numbers. They thought I'd never wake up. Sophie nodded. If they got guardianship, they'd control your trust. Pay off their debts. And you'd never know. The motive was crystal clear. Desperation plus opportunity equals betrayal. I looked at Sophie. What do we do? She smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. We bury them in receipts. Sophie moved fast. She filed an emergency counter motion. Oppose the guardianship. Request a protective order on my trust. Refer the fraud attempt for criminal investigation. We built the evidence binder together. Exhibit A, visitor logs. Proof of abandonment. Exhibit B, bank fraud alert. Proof of attempted theft. Exhibit C, bankruptcy filing. Proof of motive. Exhibit D, trustee statement. Proof they lied. Exhibit E, my medical records. Proof I was competent, recovering, and fully capable. Every receipt, organized, tabbed, certified. Sophie prepared a witness list. Maria, my aunt. Mr. Carroll, the trustee. 2 of my friends, my physical therapist, all of them ready to testify. But I had one more goal. I need to walk into that courtroom on my own, I told Sophie. She looked at me. No walker, no walker. I started physical therapy twice a day. I pushed through the pain. I practiced in the hospital hallway. 1 step, 2 steps, 10 steps, 20. By day 9, I could walk 50 feet without stopping. It wasn't pretty, but I could do it. The hearing was the next morning. I put on my best shirt. Black slacks. I did my hair. I looked in the mirror. I didn't see a victim. I saw someone who had survived. Someone who had receipts. Someone who was ready. I wasn't their victim. I was their reckoning. The courtroom was small. Family court. Just the judge, a bailiff, a court reporter. My parents sat at the defendant's table with their lawyer. He was older. Expensive suit. They looked confident. My mother was wearing pearls. My father had his arms crossed. They thought they'd already won. Sophie and I sat at the other table. The bailiff stood, All rise. The Honorable Judge Patricia Nguyen presiding. Everyone stood. The judge entered. She was in her 50s, sharp, no nonsense. Be seated. The bailiff called the case number. In the matter of guardianship petition, case number 47289. I stood. Sophie had told me to wait in the hallway until she called me. But I couldn't. I walked in. No walker. No cane, just me. The door closed behind me. My parents turned. My mother saw me first. Her face went white. All the blood just drained out. "Oh my God," she whispered. Then she fainted. Just dropped. My father lunged to catch her, but his knees buckled. He fell into his chair, head between his knees. The judge banged her gavel. "Bailiff!" The bailiff rushed over. My mother was on the floor. Someone brought water. The judge looked at me. Then at them. 10-minute recess, she said. When we reconvened, my parents were back in their seats. Still pale. Still shaking. The judge turned to Sophie. "Counselor, you may proceed." Sophie stood. "Your Honor, we oppose this petition. And we have evidence that this is not a good faith guardianship request. This is financial exploitation." She opened the binder. Exhibit A, hospital visitor logs. The petitioners visited their daughter once during her 6-month coma. 18 minutes. That's abandonment. She projected it on the screen. The judge leaned forward. Exhibit B, bank fraud alert. While my client was unconscious, the petitioners attempted to access her trust fund. Forged authorization. The bank flagged and denied it. Another slide. The judge's face hardened. Exhibit C, bankruptcy filing. The petitioners owe $285,000. 6 months before the accident. Motive is clear. Exhibit D, trustee statement. Mr. Carroll will testify the petitioners solicited him to authorize a withdrawal while my client was incapacitated. He refused. Exhibit E, medical records. My client is fully recovered, competent, capable. She does not need a guardian. Sophie sat down. The judge looked at my parents. Does petitioner's counsel wish to respond? Their lawyer stood. He tried, but he had nothing. The judge didn't deliberate long. Petition for guardianship is denied. Protective order on the trust is granted. Fraud referral is submitted to the district attorney's office for review. She banged the gavel. This matter is closed. I stood. I walked out of that courtroom on my own 2 feet. My parents stayed sitting. Still pale. Still silent. Still caught. The district attorney reviewed the fraud referral. 2 weeks later, they sent a letter. Insufficient evidence to prove intent beyond a reasonable doubt. Declining prosecution. I wasn't surprised. And honestly, I didn't need them to go to jail. The court order was enough. My trust was protected, locked down with a new independent trustee. Someone I chose. I paid off every medical bill, physical therapy, medications, hospital fees, all of it. I had money left over, so I started a scholarship fund in my grandparents' names for students who've survived trauma, car accidents, illness, abuse. The first award was $5,000. It went to a girl who survived a drunk driving crash just like me. My parents? I haven't spoken to them since the hearing. They sent one email, 3 days after the court date. No apology, no acknowledgement. Just this. We were trying to help. You'll understand when you're older. I didn't reply. I blocked their number. Blocked their emails. Set a boundary. I moved 2 states away. Finished my degree online. Graduated with honors. I'm in law school now. Family law. Because I learned something in that hospital bed. Sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones you need protection from. And sometimes the real family isn't the one you're born into. It's the one you choose. Maria still texts me every week. My aunt and I have dinner once a month. Sophie became a mentor and a friend. Those are my people. The ones who showed up. The ones who stayed. I don't owe my parents anything. Not my time. Not my peace. Not my trust fund. I owe myself the life my grandparents wanted me to have. And I'm building it, one boundary at a time. If you've ever had to stand up to someone you loved, drop a comment. Tell me your story. You're not alone. And if this one hit home, subscribe. Every week I'm covering real stories about boundaries, justice, and taking your power back. Because here's the truth. You don't owe anyone access to your peace. Not even family. Especially not family who only show up when there's something to take. Remember, this is a fictionalized dramatization for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not legal or financial advice. Always consult a licensed professional for your specific situation. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.